All over the world, species are becoming endangered because of human destruction of habitats. One ecosystem in particular, the ocean, has been especially susceptible to human mistreatment of the environment. There are various ways in which humans have affected animals, including pollution of greenhouse gases, hunting and poaching, oil spills, and plastic pollution. Today we will focus on 3 endangered species: polar bears, sea turtles, and butterfly fish, and we will look more in depth into how humans have affected their habitats and caused them to become endangered species.
Imagine a blanket that is wrapped around the earth to keep Mother Nature warm. That is called the ozone layer. Humans have been burning fossil fuels such like oil and coal, which puts another blanket on the ozone layer. This traps the sun rays when it bounces off the earth, which is the cause of the average temperature to rise. Since the ozone layer is increasing and the average temperature is rising, the ice in the North Pole has been decreasing. With the decrease of ice in the North Pole, polar bears have been suffering. For example, in one study, a polar bear had to swim 426 miles without a resting stop. That means that this polar bear did not find stable enough ice to rest on. She also lost 22% of her body weight, which protects her from the cold and gives her energy throughout her adventure. Imagine a fully grown mother with her cubs. If a full-grown polar bear lost 22% of her body weight, how well do you think her cubs will do? With the great distance that the polar bears have to travel to find steady ice, small cubs do not make this journey. Many mothers have lost their cubs due to this long swim, which is why polar bears are having a hard time repopulating. The young ones die before they are fully grown. This is why ice is so important for the polar bears for them to survive. It gives them a home, and the mother can go hunting for sea lions who are also looking for a rest. Sea ice is important for its ecosystem as soil is for the forest. This lowers the count of wild polar bears. This is due to the average temperature rising in the sea and air. Scientists also predicted that in 2050, 2/3 of polar bears' population will be gone. They also predicted that by 2100, polar bears will be extinct.
Sea turtles are one of the most endangered species in the ocean. They are at risk due to many different factors such as overharvesting and illegal trade, fishery bycatch, and lack of habitat due to pollution. Sea turtles are a fundamental link in marine ecosystems. They help maintain the health of seagrass beds and coral reefs that benefit commercially valuable species such as shrimp, lobster, and tuna. There are 7 different species of turtles in our ocean, and I will focus on 4 of them. Hawk-billed turtles are named for their narrow, pointed beaks. They also have a distinctive pattern of overlapping scales on their shells that form a serrated look on the edges. These colored and patterned shells make them highly valuable and commonly sold as tortoise shell in markets. Loggerhead turtles are named for their large heads that support powerful jaw muscles, allowing them to crush hard, shell-like prey like clams and sea urchins. They are less likely to be hunted for their meat or shell compared to other sea turtles. Their main threat is bycatch, which is the accidental capture of marine animals in fishing gear. This is a serious problem for loggerhead turtles because they frequently come in contact with fishing boats. Leatherback turtles are named for their shell, which is leather-like rather than hard, like other turtles. Although their distribution is wide, numbers of leatherback turtles have seriously declined during the last century as a result of intense egg collection and fishery bycatch. The green turtle is one of the largest sea turtles and the only herbivore among the different species. Green turtles are in fact named for the greenish color of their cartilage and fat, not their shells. They are threatened by overharvesting of their eggs, hunting of adults, being caught in fishing gear, and loss of nesting beach sites. Over the past century, human endeavors such as beach development to plastic, poaching, and chemicals have put sea turtles at risk, causing their survival rate to drop to 1% or less. Added human pressure is what has caused all of the turtle species to become threatened or endangered. They have evolved to overcome many obstacles, but the current risks are occurring at such a fast rate that they are becoming overwhelmed and unable to cope. Turtles are slaughtered for their eggs, meat, skin, and shells. They suffer from poaching and overexploitation. Their habitats are destructed and they are accidentally captured in fishing gear when fishermen are not paying attention. This is referred to as bycatch. Hundreds of thousands of sea turtles are accidentally caught in shrimp trawl nets, on longline hooks, and in fishing gill nets every year. They become fishery bycatch, unintended catch of non-target species. Sea turtles need to reach the surface to breathe, and therefore many drown once they are caught and not able to reach the air. In order to protect this species, fishers are working on producing hooks that are more turtle-friendly and would prevent them from being caught. Additionally, there are many organizations that are working around the world to establish marine protected areas, also known as MPAS, to ensure sea turtles have a safe place to nest, feed, and migrate freely.
Coral is a living marine invertebrate, and coral reefs act as a habitat for thousands of species. Butterfly fish live in coral reefs and use the reefs as shelter by blending into the dark crevices, as well as by using them as a source of food. Butterfly fish eat coral polyps, worms, and invertebrates that live in the coral. These fish have become an endangered species because of the massive death of coral reefs across the ocean due to coral bleaching and ocean acidification. Coral bleaching is the process that occurs when ocean waters are too warm. The coral expels algae from within and turn white. Coral use algae as their source of energy, and after they have released their algae, they begin to starve and eventually die. When coral reefs die, they can no longer provide a habitat for thousands of sea animals and organisms. The rise in sea temperature that has been causing coral bleaching is due to the melting of polar ice caps caused by global warming, which we discussed when we talked about polar bears. Another process which is affecting coral reefs is the increased level of carbon in the ocean. When we release greenhouse gases like carbon into the atmosphere, this carbon also goes into the ocean due to the ocean-atmosphere exchange of gases. This carbon disrupts the process through which coral build their skeletons. Without the coral's rigid skeleton, they collapse. As of 2016, 90% of the Great Barrier Reef had been bleached and is in the process of collapsing and dying. Species like the butterfly fish that rely on coral reefs for food and shelter are endangered because of their destruction. In order to solve the problem of the mass destruction of coral and the subsequent endangerment of butterfly fish, we need to cut down on our carbon emissions. We can walk and bike instead of driving and minimize our use of fossil fuels. It is also important to make regulations about the amount of emissions that factories and businesses can release in order to protect animals and our environment.
Polar bears are suffering due to the lack of ice in the ocean. Global warming is causing the polar ice caps to melt, which is resulting in the endangerment of this species.
There are 7 types of sea turtles, and all of them are endangered. They are endangered due to fishery bycatch, pollution, and egg harvesting. They also often get caught in traps or do not have proper nesting spaces in which to reproduce.
Butterfly fish are extremely reliant on coral reefs, and the current ocean acidification and coral bleaching is causing the species to die off due to lack of habitat. Defenders of Wildlife is a non-profit conservation organization based in the United States. Its mission is to protect all animals and plants native to North America in their natural communities.
World Wildlife Fund is working to secure a living ocean to achieve a vision where resilient oceans harbor living resources and functioning ecosystems that support rich biodiversity, food security, and sustainable livelihoods.
The International Fund for Animal Welfare saves and rescues individual animals and protects entire populations by preserving habitats.
By working with these organizations and becoming more aware of the way that our actions impact the ocean and its species, we can work towards a safer and cleaner environment for all animals.